Okay, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Okay, just to be sure that you're not in the wrong train, this is a class on Macroeconomics 1. And I assume that all of you have taken the pengantar Makro, or the introduction to macroeconomics, right? So the main purpose of this class and the difference between this class and your pengantar is that here we are going to emphasize on the operational meaning of those introduction, because I believe in the introductions the professor only gives you the overall broad picture, but here we want to understand better about the interrelation among those macro variables which you were introduced by your professors. Okay. This class, I'm pretty sure all of you have already the syllabus, right? Because the TA already give you the syllabus. And if you look at the syllabus, basically there are a couple of things that you need to pay attention. This class will have 4 things. Number 1 is homework, a set of homework. Number 2 is a midterm exam. Number 3 is the final exam. And then number 4 is every class meeting, like today, for example, towards the end, we will distribute a questionnaire. And the questionnaire is essentially trying to get what you learn from today. So if we are talking about the questionnaires for today, what did you learn from today's class, as well as what do you expect for the next class or the next meeting. Now, in relation to the second point, i.e. what you expect for the next meeting, this is very important for you to have a print out of the syllabus. So having syllabus every time in the class meeting, it's so important, because the syllabus tells you the sequence of the topics that we are going to cover. The whole idea is that suppose you already sort of listed a couple of points which you learned today. By looking at the syllabus, I'm expecting you can estimate or you can predict what we are going to discuss in the next meeting, okay, based on what we learned today. Okay, so that's the reasons why I really encourage you, all of you, to print out the syllabus and bring it every time we have a class meeting, so that you can see what are we going to discuss in the next meeting. Okay, so those 4 points, I think it's important. The rest about administrative matters, about the reading materials and so forth, I think the TA will explain to you in more detail. And of course, if you have questions, you can ask both the TAs as well as myself. I think in the syllabus I gave you my email, so feel free to email me directly. By the way, I haven't introduced, although you may know already, we have 2 TAs in this class. One is Jana and the second is Fauzi. And I'm pretty sure they give you their email address as well. Okay? Any questions before I proceed? By the way, okay. This is the style of the class, okay? Please do not wait until I finish explaining particular subject or particular topic, and then you wait until I finish and then you ask the questions. No, please interject me anytime you want, okay? Because I may use some terms which you are not familiar with. So if you don't cut me off, I continue using that term, and you may, sort of miss the real meaning of those terms. So whenever I'm saying something, explaining something, and then in the middle of my explanations you feel that there are things that is not clear or sounds foreign to you, please interject me, okay? All right, any question so far before I start with the class?
No question.
Okay, I was about to suggest, but I think Jana knows already that I want one microphone held by one student, so that every time I'm raising question to the class, at least that students can respond on behalf of the class, okay? All right, so what is macroeconomics? So basically that's the first question that all of you should ask. What is macroeconomics? And by the way, like in any basic theories, because you know very well in economics, basic economic theories consist of two, microeconomics and macroeconomics. So like in microeconomics, there's always what they call the workhorse models, because any basic theories always evolving. So in other words, if you learn microeconomics 20 years ago or even 40 years ago when I studied microeconomics, with microeconomics today, it's a bit different, okay? And in the case of macroeconomics, it's even more extreme because the change in macroeconomics is so dramatic depending on what's going on in the world and so forth, right? So despite all those changes, so macroeconomics 20 years ago is different than macroeconomics today, there are things that remains the same. And those are what we call the workhorse models. Okay? So, in other words, what I will start explaining today, so the first part is really talking about the workhorse model. It's almost like, imagine if you're building a building, you need to start with the foundation. So the workhorse model is almost like the foundation here. So it doesn't matter whether you want to change the structure of the design of the building, but the foundation has to be there, okay? So the first question is, what is macroeconomics and what is the workhorse model?